Computer vision is now easier than ever, and in this video we're going to be setting up some with the YOLO object detection model on a Raspberry Pi 5. We'll also be learning how to optimize this model to run better on the Pi, controlling some hardware with the results of our detections, and we'll be taking a look at YOLO World, an incredible open vocabulary model that looks for the custom objects you describe it. Let's get into it. To follow along, you're going to need a few things, starting with a Pi 5. Although this could work on a Pi 4, vision models like YOLO are very processing intensive, and the slower speeds of the Pi 4 would not be a very nice experience, so we're going to stick with the Pi 5. You also need a camera. We're using the camera module 3, and possibly an adapter cable. The Pi 5 comes with a smaller camera connector, and your camera may come with the older, wider cable, so double check if you need one. And of course we'll need a micro SD card for Pi OS, a keyboard, mouse and monitor to operate the Pi, and some form of a cooling solution for the Pi. We're just using the active cooler here. We'll have links to all of these in the written guide below. There you'll also find all the code that we'll be using in this video. In terms of hardware assembly, we don't really have much here. Just plug the camera into the Pi with the ribbon cable. Just ensure that you plug it in the correct way because it only works in one orientation. Also try to be careful with these ribbon cables. They're not made out of paper, but they will break if you don't look after them and you bend and curl them too much. And we're also just going to find a way to mount our camera as well. First of all, you're going to need to use another computer to install Pi OS onto the micro SD card using Raspberry Pi Imager. Super straightforward process, but if you need help, you'll find it in our written guide below. Once we've installed Pi OS, go through the first time setup and ensure that you connect it to the internet. There's nothing fancy you need to do here. Alright, now we're on the desktop, we're ready to get started. First things first, we need to create something called a virtual environment. This is just an isolated space that we can work in, and because it's isolated, we can do whatever we want in there without risk of breaking or causing conflicts with the rest of Pi OS. To do so, we're going to open a new terminal window, and in here we'll write out the line to create the virtual environment. And this one we're calling YOLO object. Again, you can find all the code and commands in the written guide if you just want to copy and paste them. Now let's jump into that virtual environment by punching in this line here. After doing so, you can see the name of the environment that we're in on the left-hand side here, and this means that we're working inside of it currently. And if you ever need to get back into this environment, say if you close the terminal tab and reopen it, you can see that we're not working in this environment anymore. You can just run that source command again and get back into it. Now that we have our environment set up, we'll start with some peace of mind by ensuring that our package manager is up to date with these few lines. Now we'll install the Ultralytics package, and this is also going to install OpenCV and all the fancy stuff we need to use YOLO. This process may take a good 10 or 20 minutes, so get up, stretch, and go and get a tea or something. Now there's quite a lot being installed in that package, and it's not uncommon to get some red lines of text saying that an error has occurred. And if you do get any of these errors, just punch in that install line again and it should clear up any of your issues. While you're waiting for that to install, let's explain OpenCV, YOLO, and something called the COCO Library, because they'll be referred to a lot, and the best way is with an analogy. OpenCV is a framework or a set of tools for vision-related things. It's like how a kitchen provides the needed tools and equipment to prepare and make food. YOLO is the computer vision model that we're using, and it can be thought of as the cook in the kitchen. It's the thing that's going to actually be doing the work. And then there's the COCO Library. This is the training data that our YOLO object detection model is going to actually use, and it's like the cookbook that it follows. So YOLO the cook reads the COCO Library cookbook and uses that to make food in the OpenCV kitchen. And once that's successfully installed, we just want to reboot the Pi. Now we're going to go ahead and open up Thonny, which is where we're actually going to be running our code from. But before we begin, we're going to need to set it up to use that virtual environment that we just created. And it's going to be easy here if we switch to regular mode and hit OK, and then we just need to reboot it like so. So we're going to head to Run and then Configure Interpreter, and then we're going to go to our Python executable, click these three dots, and then we're going to navigate to the folder that we created. So it's under Home, and we can see YOLO object. Then we're going to go to Bin, and we're going to look for something called the Python 3 file. There it is. And we're just going to select that, hit OK. And now you can see we can select this environment whenever we need to return to it. All right, now we can paste in the demo code. And if you want a breakdown of how all this code works, it's in the written guide below. Very importantly, we're just going to save this somewhere, and I'm going to save it to my desktop for easy access. And it's going to be a very smart idea here to create a new folder. And we're just going to call this YOLO object detection. That doesn't really matter. And we're just going to call this YOLO.py. Again, it doesn't really matter. And we're going to create that folder because this script is going to download probably a fair few models depending on how much you play around with, and that can get very messy very quickly. We should be able to run that demo code, and the beauty of this Ultralytics library is that it will automatically download all the models we specify and anything extra that we need. Oh, we can see that I'm a person. Oh, wow. And as you can see, it detects what object is in there, and this little, I'm going to point to it correctly, there we go. It draws a box around it, and it gives it a little confidence rating up here of how certain it is that this is the actual object. That's really choppy FPS, but we'll fix that real quick. Now, it's detecting me just fine, but why isn't it detecting all of the stuff we have in the background here? Well, that's because the COCO library we talked about only has a limited amount of things that it can detect. COCO, for example, hasn't been trained on detecting glasses. And the things behind me are not fitting into any of COCO's pre-trained categories, but we'll have something a little later on how to get around this. Now, that is the core of this guide, but let's look at some ways to improve it, both speed-wise and accuracy-wise. So there's a few things that we can change and play around with, starting with the YOLO model itself. There are quite a lot of different models that we can choose from, and we can do so by simply changing this line here. YOLOv5 comes in a range of different sizes. We're using the nano model, but it also comes in small, medium, large, and extra large. And here are the model names you can punch in to use them. As you can see, if I choose to run the extra large model, first of all, it downloads it, and it might be a big download depending on the size of the model you're using. And it also runs a lot slower. You can actually see how long it's taking to process one frame in the shell. It's taking 13 seconds here. But look at that, it's able to pick up the cup on the bench there because it's able to more accurately detect stuff, especially when they are further away from the camera, and more complex scenes are done a lot better with extra large models. And to exit this, all we need to do is hit Q. So this is how we improve our quality. You've got to scale from your nano to extra large model that runs the quickest on the nano side, but is the most powerful on the extra large side. To use our kitchen analogy, the size of the model is kind of telling the cook how quickly should they do things. The nano tells them to do it really fast, as quick as possible, but that might produce sloppy results, and the extra large is telling them to really take their time with it and do it really well. The other thing we can change is the YOLO version. We're currently using YOLOv8, but let's say you wanted to go back to an older version for some reason, swap out that V8 for V5, and that's it. It's going to download and use that model. In our kitchen analogy, this is the skill level of the cook. V8 is a better trained cook that is more skillful than V5 and can cook better food in less time. And the beauty of this code is that, say a year after this video is released, version 11 comes out, you should be able to just slap V11 in there and start using the newest YOLO version. It's worth noting though that at the time of writing this video, V10 does currently exist, but we're sticking to V8 because it's not much more performance-wise and V8 works better on the Pi. Another option we have is to convert the model to a more efficient format. By default, the model will come in something called a PyTorch format, but we can convert it to something called an NCNN format, which is more optimized for ARM processors like the Pi. To do so, we're going to create a new script, paste in the conversion code, and then we're going to need to save it into the same file as our other code. And all you need to do is specify the model that you want to use and the format to output it in. And if you run it, it should only take between 15 seconds and maybe a few minutes if you're doing this to a large model. And if we go to the folder that our script is in, you can now see our converted model here. It might help to copy and paste the name of it real quick. And all we need to do is go back to our main code, in here, specify to use this one that we just created. And if we run that code, we should be getting a lot better FPS now, about 4-fold. We're getting about 6 FPS here on average. And as you can see, this is a lot more usable of an FPS. And if your model can be converted to NCN, you definitely should. It's just a free performance boost. All of the V8 models support this, but not every other model you find will support it. For example, the V10s won't support it, which is why we're not using it here. And the other way we can increase FPS is by changing the processing resolution. This method severely decreases performance, but as you can see, we can get a good 20-30 FPS with it. At these FPS though, the model does start to get a bit janky and it might not work very well. The detection is really hit and miss. And we'll have a section in the written guide if you want to give this a go, because there's a few catches with it. So you can change the model size, nano being the fastest, extra large being the most powerful. You can convert that model to NCN to speed it up. If you want to go and look how to change the resolution, you can do that to get high FPS at low performance. And if you want to go one step further, a little bit of an overclock may see some gains in FPS here. Now we've already talked about some of the different models we can use, but there is one that is so incredibly cool it deserves its own section, and that is YOLO World. Let's say I wanted to detect these glasses. Now that is not in the COCO library that YOLO is pre-trained on, so it's not going to detect it. We could feed in images of glasses and retrain it to recognize them, but that's a bit of a pain. This is where YOLO World comes in though. It's an open vocabulary model and it only came out in 2024, it's really fresh, and you can tell it what to look for and it tries to find it. So we're going to paste in our demo code, and just a warning, the first time you run this it might take a little bit because it is going to download about half a gigabyte of libraries and dependencies and models here. So in our code, all we need to do is in this field here, tell it what to look for, and that's it. It's going to see if it can find it in the image. So we're going to tell it to look for glasses, and as you can see, we're detecting glasses without the need for retraining at all. We just change the prompt and it will look for something else. This is some really, really futuristic stuff. Now, this isn't a silver bullet solution to everything. It probably can't recognize different models of cars, but common household objects like glasses or a camera, it does a really good job on. Sometimes it's weird, like it couldn't really recognize a hammer, which is a common object. I had to tell it to look for a hammer with an orange handle, and I think it's just looking for the color orange there. And sometimes it found it, sometimes it didn't. It's a bit dodge. And yes, you can prompt it with a description instead of just one word. For more obscure things, you're at the mercy of the algorithm, but we've gotten it to recognize some pretty crazy things. Just a few things, it only comes in a small, medium, and large size, and you can't convert it to NCNN. You'll need to drop the resolution to get some better performance. Just have a play around with it though. It is a bit slower than YOLOv5, but it is so damn powerful for the ability to look for something completely new without having to retrain it. It's just good fun and it can be purposed for some really niche projects, so see if you can make it fit your needs. Now so far we've been identifying objects and drawing a box around them in this preview window, but how do we use this? What can we actually do with it? Well, there is a rich amount of information coming out of the YOLO model and it's stored in a single variable. This is of course in the results variable that we're storing the output from, and if we run the model just for a frame or two, just let it generate and quit it by pressing Q, and see how we've still got our previous entries in the shell. If we type in results and then grab the 0th element of it, which is the newest, the latest frame that's been detected, we can see all the data that we can grab from this. An important thing here is that we can see the COCO library's list of names by clicking on this one here. Each item that can be detected with the COCO library has a number associated with it. So 0 is a person, 1's a bicycle, 2 is a car, and so on and so on. And this number is usually what we will be using to know what is being detected in the frame. For example, if we type in result.boxes.cls, we can get a list of all the things that were detected in the last frame. We only detected a human in the last frame, so there's only a 0 here. And this is how we can do things with our detection results. We have some demo code in the written guide to control a pin of the Pi5 when a human is detected, and we can use it to do things like control a solenoid to open and close. Or turn on a light to make automatic lighting, or make a security system that emails you when it detects someone or an animal. Yes, COCO is trained on animals. Well, I hope you enjoyed this guide. We can now use a Pi5 to detect objects and do something based on that detection. That seems like a simple concept, but that has endless applications in endless projects. If you do build something cool, or you just run into some trouble with this guide, feel free to pop a post on our community forums. We're all makers and we're happy to help. I'd also like to extend a big thanks to the developers and maintainers of the COCO library and OpenCV, as well as Joseph Redman and Ultralytics, who have brought us these YOLO models.